Well guys, my 8163B started making a weird noise in the back towards the clutch. So I figured I'd investigate. Let's see what we can find. Okay, so here's our clutch. Number one, I noticed the gap is barely there, which is strange. So then what I like to do is see if the three rollers spin. And they do, but look what I found on this top one. If I can zoom in. The pin that goes through it is like slipped down, kind of falling out. So, see here, I'm trying to do this one-handed. See that? It's about to fall out. So I gotta fix that. See if I can use the screwdriver and push it back up and fix it, or I might just have to take this whole thing apart. Ooh, the whole thing's about to fall out there. Ooh, let me just take it apart and put it back together. All right, guys, so I decided to just take off the two nuts here, and we'll see what we got. Because I have a feeling that something's completely worn out, which has caused it to want to fall apart like that. Using this gear wrench here, it's like a ratchet. Oftentimes these studs spin when you go to take these nuts off. So I always have a pair of vice grips handy just to put on there in case I got to hold it so it doesn't spin. These are nylon lock nuts on here. Let's see, here's one. They're a 1/2 inch fine thread, which are kind of hard to find if you need to get new ones. Let's see. All right, I'm 2 for 2 here. This is kind of a pain. You got to make sure that this outside plate here doesn't just fall off and you lose all three of those cams. So far it's staying in place, it looks like. I just about got this nut off. Okay, let's see. If anything, I'm just going to grease everything up here and oil those three cams. I like to grease the splines on the shaft that comes out that the clutch goes on. Now, let's see if I can do this here. I'm just going to, oh, I already lost one. Here's number 2. Number 3 is stuck in there. Let's see. Seems okay. This is the one that fell out. Back in there. It spins freely. It seems to stay in there okay. I dropped this other one down here in the grass. Let me get that one. Let's see. And there's a lot of play in this roller compared to the shaft. I'll tell you that much. The newer ones have a one-piece thing. They're not 2 pieces like this. And now let's see. Yeah, this bearing and this clutch is shot. You see that? See all that play in there? That bearing is shot ski. So let's just take this whole clutch right off, which is easy to do. Let's see, there's a spring in there. I'm just going to take that spring out and put it back on the shaft here. And that all seems good. But this bearing on the outside here is shot. Garbaggio. Gone. So we'll have to put a new bearing in there. I actually might have a bearing in the parts department. I'll check it out. But I'd like to buy a couple new ones because if I have one in the parts department, it's literally my last one. And the problem here is that what happens is 2 things. One, these splines in here can wear out. These ones are worn, but they're not so bad. But the diameter of the shaft here, where the bearing rides on it, wears down. And then you get a new bearing and you slip it on there. It doesn't want to stay on because it's too worn. So anyways, that's our problem here. And probably that bearing being worn created extra play in there, which then allowed those rollers to fall out. So anyways, let's go over to the parts department and see if we got a bearing. I'm over here at the parts department behind me, and look what I found. I actually have the right bearing that I need. Unbelievable, huh? So we'll use this and then we'll order a couple more. I got my trusty Channel X snap ring pliers. Took that right off. Yeah, this is not good. I should not be able to just take this bearing off with my hand without even using any force. So the bearing itself actually doesn't seem bad. I think our problem is that the shaft is all worn down here. So then our bearing is slipping. Oh, actually, this is the inside oil seal of the bearing. So you see all those balls, you shouldn't be seeing those. Yeah, probably dried out of grease, got smoked on the shaft here. Now you can take a punch and ding this up and put a bunch of dings in there and try to use that to get it out. I'm gonna take a hammer and drive this bearing out of this thing. Could use a press, but I just use a hammer and it comes right out usually. Let me get a hammer. I use this ball peen hammer here just to knock that sucker out. Let's go get the new bearing and see how it fits on the shaft. Here's the deal. That shaft is totally worn out on that clutch. This thing has so much play in it, it's not even funny. So in a perfect world, you would weld this up and chuck it in a lathe and turn it down again. Or maybe you get one of those speedy sleeves for it. Put that over there, I'm not sure. But this is way too loose. So even if I put this back together, I don't think it's gonna function properly. Which really stinks, you know. It has a pretty good clutch on it too. So, you know, I probably should look for a used one of these clutch housings. Here, let's take those Bellevue washers off and look at it again. You can see it's pretty scorched up back there from those washers. And if I was to go all the way up here against the clutch area and measure that diameter, I can feel with my thumb that there's a big, you know, decrease in diameter there. If I ever got my lathe set up, that would be cool. You could probably chuck it over here before the snap ring. I could lay some welds around this thing. It'd be hard to do that though, and turn it down again. But that's the kind of stuff you got to do to save these old parts, you know. So let's get a punch and do the redneck thing of just marring up the surface, trying to get it enough to grip on that bearing. I'm going to take this center punch here and just make a bunch of dings all the way around this thing where that bearing seats. I learned this from Terrell Fixes All. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we're going to give it a shot and see what happens. Alright, so I put about 50 dings in it with the center punch. Didn't do anything. This thing's way too loose. You know, it really stinks. Here's the old bearing again. It's just as loose, so you know, I don't actually think there's anything wrong with this old bearing. I think just the oil seal fell off of it. But, you know, whatever. All right, so I got my highly accurate Pittsburgh digital caliper out. And if I measure this thing, let me go down to the bottom here. A 1.570. That's like down near the back where nothing would touch it. If I go in the middle, 1.5665. So that's 3.5 thousandths worn. 1.567. Yeah, I'm right up against the snap ring, which is where the bearing would be. 567, 566, 566, and I go down lower and I'm at 69 or 70. Question is, if I take the bearing itself, this isn't really the proper tool for this, but measure the inside diameter. Having a hard time with that. 563. What was it over here? 573. Yeah, that makes sense because no, 573. The bearing has to be smaller than this. Why was it measuring bigger? Huh. 571. Hard to see this thing. 571. $572. Yeah, so anyways, this thing's worn a lot. It's worn 2 or 3 thousandths. I was wondering if you could put a speedy sleeve over it. So you would need a speedy sleeve that's 2 to 3 thousandths thick. But unless this thing is exactly worn evenly, the whole surface of the bearing, then it's not going to work right because it'll be too fat at the bottom where it's thick and not fat enough there. But I think it would work. I really do. I'm going to buy one just for the hell of it and see what happens. If I measure the thickness of the bearing itself, that's all the speedy sleeve needs to be for the length of it, we'll say. It's probably going to come in a piece that's 3 or 4 inches long and I can just cut off what I need. But I've used speedy sleeves before, and I think you can use a Loctite bearing retainer on it and maybe go for it. So we're going to try it. To buy this new clutch is 250 bucks. So my tractor's not even worth that much money. So we're going to try to salvage this on the cheap, as they say. If I put it to metric, I got 39.97 millimeters. So I'm going to guess that this bearing is probably 40 millimeters on the inside. I have this other clutch here that needs a clutch on it, which I have a brand new clutch for, but it goes on my 8162T. Just for reference, I cannot even get that bearing started on there by hand on this one. So I should be measuring this one. Let's try that. And let's see where that gets us on one that's good looking. Let's see what we got here. 1.573, 1.575, 1.575, so I'm going to guess that it should be like 1.575-ish. Yeah, we're going to go 1.575. Okay. So the other one, they'll tell me it's like 5 thousandths worn. Cool. All right, cool. I have this little Atlas lathe that I got 2 years ago that is not fully set up right now. And the main problem is that the motor down there was missing the pulley. And then I got this pulley, but the pulleys, I paid a lot of money for this pulley, by the way, but this diameter of the pulley is way bigger than the motor diameter. So the motor must have been a replacement motor at some point. So I need like a sleeve adapter to put in there to make it the right diameter. But I've never even used a lathe before, but I would be absolutely fascinated in trying to weld that thing up a little bit with the MIG welder and turn it in that lathe and see if we could get it to be useful again. All right, so here's the deal. I could not find a speedy sleeve that fit that thing. I looked in a bunch of catalogs and none of them were the right dimensions. And I don't really have time to screw with the lathe right now. So I'm going to search for a used clutch from somebody. And when we find it, we'll put it back together. anyways, hope you guys liked the video. Stay tuned for part 2. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Leave a comment. That would really help a lot. And give it a thumbs up. Thanks. See you next time.